two types of people on the planet. Ones that make you happy when you enter a room, ones that make you happy when they leave the room. They give you energy or they suck energy.
Yep,
Yeah. Which
that's
one are
true.
you? And it's a choice. And the way to be so amazing, to be that person, is awareness of how you're showing up, how you're not showing up, awareness of who you are, awareness gives you clarity. Clarity gives you focus. Focus gives you action. Action gives you results. Results gives you momentum. Momentum gives you everything. You cannot be happy. You cannot be joyous. You cannot be in love without awareness.
Every journey has a story, and every story has the power to heal. My story hasn't been ordinary. I was adopted. I'm a survivor of abuse and trauma, and I have more than a dozen siblings. That's just the beginning of my story. Life has taken me on a long and winding road of healing and personal growth, a journey that ultimately led me back to myself and the path I was meant to walk. Along the way, I discovered that stories have power. The power to connect us, to help us grow, and even to help us heal. This is Travel Time Stories with Shannon. Real journeys, real stories, and real healing. What if the reason your relationships aren't working has nothing to do with the other person?
What if the stress, the conflict, even the disconnect is coming from something deeper inside you?
Our guest today went from rock bottom, facing suicide,
To helping people around the world transform their relationships and find real happiness.
So the question is, are you looking for love?
Or trying to fix something you don't understand yet.
Welcome back to Travel Time Stories, real journeys, real stories, real healing, where we explore the journeys that change our lives, whether they take us across the world or deep within ourselves. I'm your host, Shannon from Texas, and I'm joined by my co-host, Ann from Missouri.
Sometimes the most important journey we'll ever take is the one toward understanding ourselves and our relationships.
And today's guest has spent his life helping people do exactly that.
Joining us today is Anil Gupta, internationally known as the Love Doctor.
Anil has helped people in over 18 countries transform their relationships, overcome emotional struggles, and live fuller, more meaningful lives.
He is a TEDx speaker, best-selling author, and has worked with everyone from everyday individuals to celebrities and even world leaders.
But what makes his story even more powerful is that his journey began from a very dark place.
Anil, we are so honored to have you here. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Anne, for inviting me. Just want to let the listeners know today's going to be an amazing day full of great content, powerful content that you can immediately apply in your life with immediate results. And that's what we're really here for, to serve you.
Exactly.
Yes.
So everybody grab your favorite beverage and let's get into it here. So Anil, before your success, before the work you're doing today, you've shared that there was a time when you were struggling deeply, even facing suicide. Can you take us back to that moment and what was going on in your life?
Yeah, it was November 2008, in the depths of the recession, depression. I'd lost everything in the stock market, in real estate, and we were about to lose the house, the cars, all the money had gone, and it was really looking very bad. And I remember having to tell my wife. I thought she ought to know. So I went up to the bedroom and I said, "Honey, something really bad has happened." She said, "What's going on?" I said, "Honey, I've lost everything: the house, the cars, the school fees, everything. We have nothing left." And Shannon and Ann, she looked up at me and she smiled. And I thought, there's something wrong. Something's not quite right here. Honey, why are you smiling? She said, "Honey, I knew something was wrong. You've been behaving very strangely," which I had been, obviously. I thought it was something serious. And again, I thought, there's nothing more serious than this. What's wrong with you? And then she said, "Honey, I thought you had cancer. I thought you were dying. I don't care about the money." I was
Yeah.
shocked. And then a huge weight lifted off my shoulders. Then she said this, you made one big mistake. You haven't lost everything. You still have me. You still have the kids. We'll sleep in the streets if we have to. And when someone says that to you, it's like, oh. And I realized that I was focusing on what I'd lost and not focusing on what I'd gained, what I'd left. And that's what I want to share with the listeners and the viewers. Focus on what you have left. So, for example, look at your hands. When was the last time you thanked them? How much would you
never.
give
A long time ago. Thank
for your
you.
hands? You say, hey, can I buy your hands off you? You wouldn't sell them.
Right.
You know, if you're 32 years old, your heart has beaten over a billion times. And the heart is 4 chambers. When was the last time we thanked our hearts, our livers, our kidneys? Millions and millions of gallons of water, of blood have passed through the kidneys. Trillions of cubic centimeters of air have passed through our lungs. And they work effortlessly. Thank the things that you've got. Be grateful for what you have and don't focus on what you don't have.
It's very good advice.
Think about pooping without your hands. You can't do it, can you? It's going to
No.
be awkward. Holding the loved ones, the babies, the people that you
Yes.
love, receiving money, giving gifts, receiving gifts. You know, can you see anything different about my hands? They look the same, don't they?
Yeah.
This one has 9 fractures in it, a dislocation, a titanium plate, 13 screws.
Oh, wow.
And this one hasn't. So we never know what other people have got. But I slipped and fell, and I did all this to my left hand, but I was grateful because it was my left hand. I'm right-handed.
Yes.
So no matter what happens in life, whatever you're going through, there's always a sunnier side.
I agree. You can always pull out something good, even from something bad. A lesson learned, a moment,
Yeah.
And Anil, was there a turning point where something inside you said, I want something different?
It wasn't, I want something different. I think that's being egotistical. I wanted something changed. I became someone else. See, in life, it's not what happens, but who you become. Around 2008, my identity was around money. And I changed my identity. And then when I did that, I became a billionaire because, I stopped using the currency of the US dollar. I started using a new currency, the currency of love, camaraderie, friendship, kindness, gentleness, gratitude, giving. Once you start using that currency, your life will be filled because we're very good at beating ourselves up. And all we have to do is focus on the good stuff. How kind are you? How loyal are you? How generous are you? How giving are you? How playful are you? How loving are you? How much appreciation do you have for the small things in life? When I fractured my hand, I couldn't even lift up a paper. I couldn't even put toothpaste on my toothbrush because I had to get the 2 angles right. I couldn't do it. So my wife would put toothpaste on my toothbrush for me. How good. How cool was that? Every time I saw that, I fell in love with her even more.
Oh, yeah, I bet. So would you say that was the first step toward change, is that shifting that mindset or that focus from money to thankfulness?
Yeah. And it's changing our identity. The next thing I did was this: be so amazing that you cannot be ignored. And if you are ignored, it doesn't matter because how you show up will be the best version of you. So imagine Shannon today. Yesterday, you were so amazing. No one could ignore you. Your life would completely change because you're showing up the best version of you every single day, every single hour, every single minute.
Others around you are going to respond to that positivity.
They
Definitely.
are, because, we never know what other people are going through. By you smiling at them or being, amazing, it might shift something for them and think, life's not that bad. We never know what other people are going through. There are only 2 types of people on the planet. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah. You're going to get a breakthrough here. Are you ready? I'm not sure you're ready.
I'm ready.
Probably not,
Okay.
but go ahead.
Okay. There are 2 types of people on the planet. Ones that make you happy when you enter a room. Ones that make you happy when they leave the room.
Oh, very
Really?
good. Really, you're right.
I like that.
It is. Either they give you energy or they suck energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Which
That's
one
true.
are you?
Yeah, that's very true.
And it's a choice, and the way to be so amazing, to be that person, is awareness of how you're showing up, how you're not showing up, awareness of who you are, awareness gives you clarity gives you focus gives you action gives you results gives you momentum gives you everything. You cannot be happy, you cannot be joyous, you cannot be in love without awareness.
That is so true. So, how did that experience shape your mission today?
So I started doing events, 5 people, 10, 20, 50, 100, 200, 500, eventually 10,000 people. I just
Oh
kept
my
on serving and I
gosh.
kept on doing what I loved. I wrote a bestseller book. And from that, I developed the happiness formula. See, if we have a formula for things, we can gamify it. So, we know the formula for the area of a square. We know the formula for the area of a rectangle, area of a circle. But who's taught you about the formula for happiness? What's more important? Really, what's more important?
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah. But we
Wow.
focus on the wrong things. So the formula is very simple. Can I share it with you?
Yes.
Yes, please.
So happiness is equal to G cubed. The first G is be grateful for what you have. Okay. The second G is you have to give your time, your energy, your love, your commitment, your joy, your money, give it away. And the third G is you have to grow emotionally, physically, spiritually, mentally, and financially. So on August the 25th, 2025, my happiness score was 729. I was 9 on giving, 9 on growth, 9 on gratitude. 9 times 9 times 9 is 729. At PM, AM-ish, I slipped and fell, 9 fractures, a dislocation, a big scrape here. The medical people there with a gurney, 12-point EKG on my chest, fainting, and my score went down to 1, obviously. 1 for give, 1 for gratitude, 1 for growth. And I thought to myself, how can I raise this score? So I started being grateful that it was my left hand, I'm right-handed, thank goodness.
Yeah.
The next G was give. How can I give in this moment? So I gave thanks to the people around me for helping me. So my score went from gratitude 1 to 5, giving was 1 to 5. Then I thought, how can I grow? Then I said to myself, you can use this story in your future podcast. You can use this story to tell people that adversity is your friend. It's not what happens, it's who you become. So that score went up to 5. So then it went up to 125 using the formula. So ladies and gentlemen, ask yourself right now, which G could you raise? Give, grow, gratitude. Could you give more? Could you be grateful for more? Could you grow? How could you grow? And your score will go up and you will be happier.
Why do so many people struggle to feel happy even when things look good on the outside?
They've been conditioned and hypnotized. So let me give you an example. So Shannon, if you come home late at night, the house is completely dark.
Mm-hmm.
Would you go in and turn on the lights? Of course you would. Would you go in and try and remove the darkness? Really? What does that look like?
You have to shine the light on it.
No. I said, would you go in and remove the darkness like this? Would you go?
Oh, no, you can't remove the darkness.
There you go. But that's what people do in life. They try and remove the negativity. It's not going to go anywhere. It's just going to get bigger. What you have to do is be the light. When you become the light, the darkness disappears. The negativity disappears. Now, people are focusing on the wrong things. All they have to do is give, grow, and be grateful. Be the best versions of themselves. Become beautiful human beings. Focus on loyalty, generosity, kindness, love, playfulness. Everything changes instantly.
So how do you interrupt the negative thought patterns, though?
You don't. You focus on the good stuff. So let me give you an example. Shannon, do you have kids?
Yes.
Okay. Your firstborn, what's the firstborn's name?
John.
And do you remember the day John was born?
Yes.
Okay. Happy day or a sad day?
Happy day.
Okay. So Anne, did you see the difference?
Yes,
Yeah.
immediately.
What you focus on is what you get. So focus on the good stuff, the things that are going right, the things that are working. For example, Anne, if I have a glass here, is it half full or is it half empty?
Oh, it's
What are
always
you?
half full. I'm a half full girl.
Okay. So Shannon, did you hear she was absolutely certain?
Mm-hmm.
What about you?
I say it's half empty.
Can you see? It's the same circumstance, but people see it differently. Now, what if I told you it's refillable?
Yeah, nobody ever thinks about that.
No. Do you know 99.9% of people peel a banana the wrong way?
Well, yeah, you're supposed to peel it from the bottom, actually. It's much easier.
That's what the gorillas do, and they eat
Mhm.
1,000 a day. They should
Yeah.
know, but we get it wrong. We tweak the stem, but the stem is actually the handle.
Yeah, for you to hold it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but we're so hypnotized.
You're right. So let's talk about relationships because that is where so many people struggle. Why do you think relationships are so challenging for people?
People make the wrong choices. They pick the wrong partners. And how do they pick the partners? It's just luck. They don't have a formula. They don't have a system. So when people date, everything's focused on the other partner, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
They look after their needs, their concerns, their wants, everything. Then they get married. One partner says, oh, I don't have to do that stuff anymore. The other one says, oh, I don't have to do that stuff anymore. So instead of 100-100, it becomes 80-20, 75-35, 70-30, 60-40, 50-50. Then it becomes transactional. I'm not going to do that for you because you didn't do that for me. I'll do that for you if you do that for me. And it's never going to work. If you make your partner your number one priority and they make you their number one priority, relationship will never fail.
What if you
It's,
have a partner that won't do that?
well, then you have to think to yourself, is that the right partner? And make that decision early. Don't stay in a relationship for 20 or 30 years for the kids, because then if you ask yourself, is that the guidance you would give your kids?
Right.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't want your kids to suffer.
Yeah.
We went deep there.
Yeah, we did.
We were really deep.
So what's the most common issue that you see among couples, singles, families?
Well, you know the biggest mistake people make in marriages? Getting married.
Oh,
Oh,
See, if you didn't get married, there'd be no marriage problems.
that's
And
true.
you know the biggest parenting mistake?
don't have kids?
Yeah.
Too late, Anil. Too late for all of us.
I was going to say, yeah, we're past all that now.
Yeah. So if you don't have kids, you don't have parenting mistakes. It's really simple. No, but forgiveness is the big thing. People will not forgive. They won't forgive themselves. They won't forgive their partner. They won't forgive their mother, their father, whatever it is. And it's like a huge weight off your shoulder. Forgiveness is the express pathway to freedom. The quality of your life is dependent upon the depth and authenticity of the forgiveness that you extend to yourself and to others. It's huge.
Yeah,
It's
it
very
has to be
huge.
real forgiveness. It
Yes.
can't just be just saying, I forgive you, but then actually not forgiving and,
Right.
continuing on in that pattern.
Yeah, it has
Yeah.
to come from the
And
heart.
if you want to know if you've forgiven someone, all you have to do is ask this question: am I able to thank them? If you can thank them, you have forgiven them.
That's a good point.
Yes, very good. I think in a lot of relationships, the communication breaks down, and once that happens, you're not talking to each other. You're not communicating your needs and so forth.
Yeah, it's so true. And
So you've
Mhm.
created the tools like the relationship score and the relationship ratio. How does that work? Can you explain what those are and how does someone do that?
okay, so the relationship score is a score out of 10. 10 is the very best relationship. 0 is the very, very worst. So, Shannon, what's your relationship score with John?
0.
Okay. So it's terrible.
Yeah,
Okay. What's the relationship score he would give you?
probably the same.
Okay. So I hope this isn't too painful, but we're here for the audience. It's not about
Yeah.
us. What could you do to raise that score to a 1?
I guess give, like reach out because we have no communication right now, none whatsoever.
Okay. So let's do baby steps. Let's raise it to a 1 right now. Okay. Think of the day he was born.
Mm-hmm.
What did you say to yourself?
I mean, I know it was one of my happy days, but I don't remember what I said to myself. I was probably scared. I was so young when he was born.
Yeah. Didn't you say, I'm going to look after you?
Yeah,
Didn't you say, I'm going to
obviously.
be the best mother in the world?
Yeah,
Didn't you say, I love you?
yes.
Didn't you say, thank you for blessing me?
I don't remember saying that. No,
Did
I
you think
probably
it was a
should have.
miracle? Did you think it was a miracle?
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
And you created that, Shannon. If that's the only thing you think of about John right now, what's your relationship score?
Then that's at least a one.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah,
So baby steps. Think of a magical moment you had with him. Remember the first day he started crawling, walking,
yeah.
talking, and the first time he said, Mum,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't that beautiful? Did you tell everybody
Yeah,
about him?
yes, exactly. I did.
See, there are two parts to John. One is your son, the miracle,
Yeah,
and two is his behavior.
yes.
So you may not like his behavior, but you can love him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the happy relationship score now?
It's at least a two now.
Yeah, really, isn't it?
Yeah, really.
There's always
Yeah.
a little bit of resistance, but this
Yeah.
is your life. Forgiving him, forgiving yourself allows you the capacity to love even more.
Yeah, that's true. Cause I don't feel like that I've ever forgiven myself for, I feel like part of his behavior is my mistake. So, and I don't think I've ever forgiven myself for that.
There you go. And once you do, Shannon, it's like 1,000 pounds off your shoulders. It's a huge thing. I do these forgiveness exercises all the time. It took me 12 minutes, the last one I did, and the lady was so happy. It's if there's only one thing you ever do is forgive yourself or someone else, and it will
Yeah.
change your life completely. It'll add more years to your life and more life to your years.
I like
Can you
that.
see how these formulas can really enhance your life? The happiness formula, the relationship score. Now, the relationship ratio is this. What's the ratio of time you spend working compared to the amount of time you work on your relationship?
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
That's eye opening right there. Yeah. When you think
Isn't
about it
it?
on that scale. Yeah.
Wow.
Most people work, 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 and then they think, oh, my wife's gone, my husband's gone, because they haven't spent time on their partner. Often people say, my wife left me. I didn't do anything. That's why she left you. You
Yeah.
didn't do anything. You didn't. If you had a Lamborghini in the garage and you didn't do anything to it, it wouldn't work well.
Exactly. Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
analogy.
You have to maintain the Lamborghini. There's
There
certain
you
things
go.
you have to do to maintain it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Before we continue, I want to share something really special we've created for this community. If you've ever listened to an episode and felt something deeper, like a moment that stayed with you or a story that made you reflect on your own life, we wanted to give you a place to go with that. We've officially launched our Travel Time Stories membership, where you can go beyond listening and become part of the experience. Inside the membership, you'll get access to the Story Circle, our private community where we reflect on each episode through guided journal prompts, share our stories, and connect through monthly meetups. There are also additional tiers with opportunities to go even deeper, from storytelling and sharing your voice to being part of the creative journey behind the scenes and joining us on our yearly group travels. If this speaks to you, you can join us through the link in the show notes or visit our website, traveltimestories.com. We would truly love to have you join the community.
Wow. I love that you've developed these tools to help people better understand, you their relationship, their kindness scores. I love the way that you look at that.
It just simplifies it.
So, Anil, you talk about removing the blockages that prevent people from living fulfilled lives. What are those blockages exactly?
I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not enough. I don't belong. There's something wrong with me. I'm unlovable. People don't like me. People don't love me. I'm a failure. It's all self deprecating and it's all BS. You know what BS is? It's belief systems, but I could see your mind going somewhere else. We have this belief system that we have all these things and then they become true because we look for evidence. But the truth is we are kind. We are generous. We are resilient. We are strong. We are miracles. We just have to change our focus, remove ourselves. When we disappear, our greatness appears. Don't focus on yourself. Focus on other people.
Yeah. So you've worked with people all over the world, from everyday individuals to celebrities. And at the core, we're all struggling with the same things, aren't we?
Absolutely. But when you're a celebrity or when you're very rich, the pressures increase because, you know, you're so successful, but you're not fulfilled. And then you think, I should be happier, but I'm not. I remember a time I was in India and I had to get up at 4 a.m. to catch a plane. And I looked across the road. There was a man sleeping in the street. And he woke up, he pumped the water, put it on his face and a big smile on his face. I was so upset. And you know why I was upset? He was happier than me. I was having expectations, catastrophizing the day, and he had no expectations. So the more expectations you have, the more upsets you're going to have in life.
Exactly.
Just get rid of the expectations, get rid of the attachments, get rid of the rules. Just keep life very simple. Am I breathing? Great. Am I alive? Great. I'm doing good.
So, what does a truly fulfilled life look like to you?
To me, it's serving, playing pickleball from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., which I do every day, 7 days a week. I was so upset at Easter because they were closed. I didn't know what to do.
Oh, no.
Really, really. And then serving people. The greatest thing in life is when you change someone's life. And you're doing that through your podcast. And sometimes, or a lot of the time, we never know the impact we have on other people. But people will always remember how you made them feel.
Yeah.
Be the best version of you. You never know how many lives you'll be saving.
True. As you said, you don't know what someone else is going through.
Yeah, I mean, if you looked at my hands, you think, oh, it's normal, but they're not. If you've never, if someone's got cancer, they've got heart issues. As if someone looked at Jeff, it's not obvious he's on dialysis.
No.
So we never know.
Yeah. So can you fully love someone if you don't love yourself?
Absolutely. That's why people love other people sometimes. But the way to love yourself is to forgive yourself. Stop beating yourself up. And
Yeah.
remember the truth. And remember the day you were born. You brought so much joy to so many people. Even before you were born, you brought joy. The day that they announced that you were coming into the world, the pregnancy was announced. You brought so much joy to the world and you weren't even an entity. So we've changed so many lives. We've given so many people so much love. We forget about that. What you focus on is what you get. Focus on the good stuff.
Yeah. So when, say, you're going through your day and you're being positive, and like we talked about, somebody enters the room that is one of those you're happy when they leave the room. Don't let their negativity change your positivity, right? Stay in your positiveness.
And I'll show you how to do that. So if I said to you, Shannon, rip off your right shoulder, knowing you are going to bleed to death, would you do it?
Obviously not.
It's a no, correct?
Right.
It's a rule that you have, and it's a good rule. Keep it, right? So Shannon, what if you had the same rule for your happiness?
Yeah, that's...
What if you had the same rule for your happiness? Under no circumstances am I going to give my happiness away.
So now, is there anything else that you would like to say to our audience before we close out today?
Yeah, if there's one thing I would like you to do is to give. Perform 5 random acts of kindness per day and notice how you feel. Notice how the other person feels. And I promise you, by you doing that, your capacity to give will increase. You will feel great. They will feel great, and they will pass it on. Perform 5 random acts of kindness to everyone in every way, every day.
Well, Anil, your story is such a powerful reminder that no matter how dark things may feel, change is always possible.
Yeah. And the happiness and connection aren't things we stumble into. They're things we learn, we build on, and we choose.
Yep, exactly. So thank you so much for sharing your story and your wisdom with us today.
Now, thank you for inviting me. It's been a wonderful interview. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So where can listeners find you and your work, Anil?
So my website is meetanil.com. And if they're struggling with any issues in their lives and they want a quick, rapid, permanent resolution, you can book a time with me and I'll do an intervention. And it's chatwithanil.com. And I promise you, in just one session, your life will change.
If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. Honestly, I think we all need to hear this message. Everybody share it.
Exactly. And Anil's information will be in our show notes and on our website at traveltimestories.com, where each of our listeners have a dedicated page so you can learn more about them and watch their episode. And join our community, the Story Circle, to get support, guidance on your journey, and have some fun. The information is on our website.
Until next time, keep traveling your stories and keep making memories for life.